All right, welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to go on like a totally different kind of deep dive. Obviously, you guys are interested in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But we're going to look at Bitcoin through a really different lens today. Kind of more of like a bigger picture way of looking at Bitcoin and money.
Right.
So the source material today is an article. It's summarizing like the key ideas in a book called Money, Love, and Bitcoin. Kind of a strange title.
Yeah, it is. What kind of perspective does this book have on Bitcoin?
Well, the author is kind of an interesting guy. He's a former financial planner.
Okay.
And he kind of had this realization. He realized that money is just a tool. It's
Right.
not like inherently valuable. The value comes from people, from what people do, from what they create, from what they contribute. And he argues that this like transactional mindset, like kind of reducing everything to like a transaction, like what can I get out of this?
Yeah.
That this has really permeated so many parts of our lives, even relationships.
Yeah, I can see that. How does this article connect that mindset to like the financial system we have now?
Well, they use the example of high frequency trading. You've probably heard of that, right?
Yeah. That's some algorithmic trading where it's like computers making
Yeah.
thousands of trades every second.
And they're exploiting these tiny
Right.
like price differences.
Yeah.
And the article says that this generates like massive profits for a small number of people,
Right.
but it doesn't actually create any value, like any real value for a society.
It's like extracting wealth, not creating it, right?
Exactly. And the article says this is like a symptom
Right.
of a much bigger problem, which is like the whole system is broken. It prioritizes profit over people.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this really powerful quote from the book. It says, "Fix the money, fix the world."
Wow, that's pretty powerful. So they believe that if we can like reform our monetary system,
Yes.
then that will help solve a lot of other problems in society. But the article also makes it clear that just changing the system isn't enough.
No, not at all.
We also have to change like our values, like
Right.
how we see the world. Like we need to move away from just this purely transactional way of looking at everything, and we need to rediscover like the importance of human connection and really creating things of value, right?
And that's where Bitcoin kind of comes into the picture.
Okay. So how does this article connect Bitcoin to all of this?
So the article, it presents Bitcoin as a potential solution
Okay.
to some of the big problems with fiat currency and inflation, right? One of the big problems with inflation is that it kind of forces people to constantly invest their savings just to keep up with rising prices, right? You're constantly on this like financial treadmill.
Yeah, you're running just to stay in the same place.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
And that can lead to a lot of anxiety and stress, especially for people who maybe aren't financially savvy or don't have access to like fancy investment strategies.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where Bitcoin's deflationary nature comes in.
Okay.
Because there's a limited supply of Bitcoin.
Right.
It has like the potential to hold its value over time, potentially even increase in value. So people could potentially save money securely without having to like constantly chase investment returns.
It's like a totally different way of thinking about money and saving, right? Instead of constantly having to like beat the market, it's okay. We can save.
Right, and just be okay.
And be okay. So how do you think that would change people's relationship with money? Do you think it would take some of that pressure off?
I think it could.
Yeah.
I think that if people felt more confident in the stability of their savings, they might not feel the need to like constantly chase returns or engage in these really risky investments.
Yeah, they could just focus on
they could just
long-term financial stuff.
Exactly. And it's not, the article doesn't just talk about inflation.
Oh.
It goes into how a lot of like current financial practices are really based on extracting wealth.
Okay.
Not creating wealth.
Right.
Like we talked about with the high frequency trading. There's a lot of other examples.
What are some other examples?
Well, they mentioned like foreign currency hedging.
Okay.
and speculative trading
Yeah.
as prime examples.
So these practices, they basically make profit by
Taking advantage of inefficiencies in the market.
yeah.
But they don't actually add any real
They
value.
create anything.
Yeah.
They're just moving money around.
Right. And often they benefit, like
Yeah.
just a few people.
A small number of people at the expense of everybody else.
Yeah. Which brings us back to the big question, like how do we shift away from this system of just taking to a system where we're actually creating value.
Creating real value.
Right.
Yeah. That's like the core challenge, you know. And it involves a multifaceted approach, right? It's not just about changing like the regulations or adopting new technologies. It's about shifting like our values and our priorities
As a society.
As a society. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And the article, it doesn't stop there. It also talks about how this kind of transactional mindset.
It's not just limited to finance.
Oh.
It's seeping into our personal relationships too.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's like we're forgetting like the inherent value of just, connecting with another human being.
Right.
And just like the joy of giving and receiving without like constantly calculating the ROI,
Yeah.
I'm curious, have you ever felt like you were being treated transactionally?
Oh, yeah.
In a relationship, whether it's like a personal or professional relationship.
Yeah, I think most of us have experienced that, where you feel like someone is only interacting with you because of what they can get from you, not because they actually care.
Not because they value you as a person.
Right, and that can be really disheartening, right?
It is. It's like the human element is just lost.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah. And the article says, this mindset, this is a direct result of how we view money and the role that it plays in our lives.
It raises an interesting question, though. If our current financial system is kind of encouraging this way of thinking, could a different system, one that values like creating and human connection, could that lead to better, more meaningful relationships?
I think that's a fantastic question, and that's exactly what the article delves into next when it talks about the potential for Bitcoin to not only change our financial systems, but our relationships with each other.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bold claim, that a new financial system could lead to like better relationships.
Right. It's kind of a wild idea, but the article says that it's not just about like the technology itself. It's about the philosophy behind Bitcoin.
Oh. Okay, so tell me about that. What is this philosophy?
Like think about the core principles, right? Decentralization, transparency, scarcity.
Okay.
Like these principles, they kind of challenge the traditional power structures of our current financial system.
So instead of power being concentrated in like banks and governments,
it's distributed.
Yeah, it's distributed among the users.
Right.
And because transactions are recorded on this public ledger, it's much more transparent, right? And it creates more accountability.
And that could potentially like reduce corruption.
Yeah, exactly.
And give individuals more control over their money.
Absolutely. And then there's, the fixed supply of Bitcoin that we talked about earlier, which
could make it a more stable store of value
than fiat currency, which is, subject to inflation.
So it's almost a whole different way of thinking about money and value.
It is.
It's like we're moving away from
centralized control and unlimited money printing to something that's more decentralized and sustainable.
Yeah. But the article, it doesn't like shy away from the potential challenges.
Okay. So what are some of the challenges?
Well, they acknowledge that Bitcoin, it can be used for good and bad.
Right.
I mean, we've seen examples of it being used for speculation and even illegal activities.
So like any powerful tool, it depends on how people use it.
Yeah, exactly. Not a magic bullet.
Right. Technology by itself can't solve our problems.
Right. It really all comes back to the need for a shift in values, a shift away from that purely transactional way of looking at the world.
Yeah, if we want to see Bitcoin used for good, We have to change how we think about it and how we use it. Like we have to be more ethical about it.
Exactly. And they imagine this world where Bitcoin, it actually empowers individuals and communities to create value and contribute, not just extract wealth.
Yeah, that's a great vision. So instead of people being rewarded for just like manipulating the system,
or exploiting it,
they're rewarded for what they
contribute
for society. Contributing. I love that idea. Like imagine a world where teachers and artists and caregivers are valued just as much as financiers and entrepreneurs.
Right. Like imagine what kind of world we could create if we focused on really creating things of value.
Real value.
Yeah, instead of just profit.
It sounds pretty idealistic, but the article says that it's not just like a pipe dream. It really starts with changing like our individual perspectives.
That each of us can do something, and our actions.
Right. Yeah, we can start by looking at our own relationship with money and asking ourselves like, are my financial decisions aligned with my values?
Yeah. Am I contributing to a system of extraction, or
am I part of the problem?
Yeah.
Or am I part of the solution?
Or am I supporting, businesses and initiatives that are actually creating value?
Right.
For the world.
It's like we need to be more conscious about how we spend our money and where we invest it.
Yeah, and think about the bigger impact of our choices.
Right. It's not just about me. It's about all of us.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's a reminder that we actually have the power to shape a better future, like one transaction at a time, one investment at a time.
One relationship at a time.
One relationship at a time.
Yeah.
That's powerful. I love that.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy to feel like, we're just kind of stuck in this system, but we're not powerless.
Yeah.
We actually have a lot more power than we realize.
We do. We have the power to make a difference.
So what are like some of the key takeaways, as we're wrapping up this part of our exploration? What are some things that our listeners can kind of
some things to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, like just become aware of how the current system is influencing. Like recognize those transactional patterns in your own life and ask yourself, like, are these patterns really serving me?
Yeah. Are they helping me? Are they helping the world?
Are they helping the world?
Yeah.
We need to break free from that mindset that sees everything as just a transaction.
Yeah.
We need to remember that connecting with other human beings is important.
Yeah.
And that collaborating with other people is important.
Yeah. And the second thing is, like, don't underestimate the power of your own choices.
Your individual choices.
Yeah. Every dollar you spend.
Right.
Every investment you make.
Every relationship
you nurture is a vote for the kind of world that you want to create.
Choose wisely. Support businesses and projects that are in line with your values.
Yeah.
And that are actually making the world a better place.
And finally, keep the conversation going, right?
Yeah.
Like talk to your friends, your family, your colleagues about these issues. The more we raise awareness, the more we can kind of like inspire collective action,
create a movement,
and build a movement towards a better world. Right. I love that. It's a reminder that change starts with each of us, but it doesn't have to be like a lonely journey.
We can do it together.
Yeah, we can support each other.
We can learn from each other.
Yeah, learn from each other and build a better future together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is inspiring to think about, the kind of world we could create if we kind of shifted our focus away from just individual gain, and more towards collective well-being.
Yeah. The article talks about that. Like if we can embrace the values that are kind of like embedded in Bitcoin,
Yeah.
like decentralization and transparency
Wow.
and focusing on creating real value,
Mhm.
that it could like have this ripple effect, you know, like it could go beyond just our financial systems.
Yeah.
It could impact how we relate to each other and how we build communities.
Yeah. So it's not just about a new kind of money. It's like a whole new way
Right.
of relating to each other, a new way of building a more fair and just
Yeah.
society.
Exactly. Imagine like a world where instead of competing for scarce resources all the time,
Mhm.
we're working together
Yeah.
to create abundance.
Yeah, where trust and transparency are just like built into all of our interactions.
Yeah, in everything we do.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Yeah.
But it's hard to like really picture what that would actually look like, you know.
Okay, well let's try like let's imagine for a second, you know, like in a world where money actually reflected like real value,
Yeah.
the people who would be rewarded the most are the people who are
Mhm.
contributing the most to society.
So instead of judging people based on like their net worth,
Right.
we would judge them based on what they contribute to their communities.
Yeah, exactly. Think about it, you know, like teachers and nurses and artists and people who are taking care
Yeah.
of others. These are the people who make our lives better,
Yeah, they're essential.
but they're often not valued enough in the system we have now.
That's so true. You know, we put so much emphasis on financial success that we forget about
Yeah.
the people who are actually like
Doing the real work.
doing the really important work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this world where value is measured differently,
Mhm.
you know, these individuals would be recognized
Yeah.
and rewarded.
Yeah, and it wouldn't just be about like
Yeah.
getting a pat on the back.
Right.
It would be about like creating a system that supports them and helps them thrive.
Imagine like a world where education and healthcare
Yeah.
and the arts are properly funded because
Mhm.
we see how valuable they are.
Right.
Not just for their like economic output.
You're right, because they're intrinsically valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And where people feel like they can actually pursue their
Yeah.
passions and contribute their talents
Yeah.
without being, you know, held back by money.
Without having to worry about,
Right.
paying the bills.
Yeah.
It would be a world where people work together
Yeah.
to solve problems and build a better future.
Yeah. That's a beautiful vision,
It is, yeah.
you know. And it might seem like
Yeah.
really idealistic, but
Mhm.
but I think it's important to have these conversations
Yeah.
and to imagine, you know, what could be.
Absolutely. Like even if we never like actually reach that perfect world,
Mm-hmm.
just thinking about it
Yeah.
can help us make better choices now in our own lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on money, love, and Bitcoin, what like one final thought that you want to leave our listeners with?
I would just encourage everybody listening to think about your own relationship with money and what you value. Like what do you really care about? How are your financial decisions reflecting those values?
Mm-hmm.
And what are some things you can do to start living more in line with the kind of world that you want to see?
Those are really powerful questions,
They are.
you know. And I think the answers might surprise us.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a journey of self-discovery and a call to action, I think.
Yeah, because the world we create tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
starts with the choices that we make today.
Well, thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive. It's given me a lot to think about.
You're welcome.
And to all of our listeners out there, you know, keep exploring these ideas.
Yeah.
Keep questioning
cool.
and keep striving to create a world that reflects your values. And remember, you know, true wealth, it's not about what we own.
It's about
what we create.
Yeah.
It's about what we contribute to the world.
Absolutely.
Until next time, deep divers.